This is the last German turn of the 8-turn Bitterwoods scenario, tournament scenario. And I decided to do this live as far as the battles. I moved all the German units. Oh, this should be fired, or removed rather. So I can't fire. Moved all the German units and have the battles set up, many of which are not germane to the victory conditions, but I'm going to follow through them, pretend that the German didn't just stop because he needed some specific spots, and that was the end of the offensive. So here we go, and from the south to the north, or the south to the north. Yeah. The first one is this battle that's been raging for a number of turns now. 11. It's now 5-1, but shifted 1 to the left, I believe, for rough terrain or broken terrain. So it's 4-1 plus 1 because of the endurance difference. 4-1 plus 1. It's a 6, which turns into a 7, and that is, of course, if we can find here, 4-1 in firefight. Right there. So they lose their last step. German loses another step, and they can advance. Finally. That took a while. And then there's an engaged result here, but that's actually for the US to engage, or to battle back on their following turn, which isn't going to make a difference for this tournament scenario. But and then we have these two should be firing right now against 101st to 82nd are mixed here. 17 plus the 10, 27 to 8 is the 3-1 plus 1 for endurance on the US side. And it's a 2, which becomes a 3. What do you say? That was 3-1. 3-1 on 3 is D1. So retreat back to supply source, and we'll advance the 2 Fallschirmjäger in the parachute divisions in German. Next battle, we've got 8 on the US side. There will be a shift to the left for the terrain. 28 plus 17, 22, 50. 50 against 8 is 6-1. The shift to the left is 5-1, and that was a 6. Oof. Oh, I have to check. Yeah, that should be the same endurance. 5-1, 6 is a D1, so that wasn't a lot, but okay. Next up, actually I'm going to wait on these two. I'll explain in a minute. These are just stationary. I'm going to try to attack here 10, 11, 12, 16, 16 to 3, 5 to 1, plus 1. See where that goes. A 1 goes to a 2, 5 to 1 plus 1, 2 is a 1d1, so I actually lost another. And this bridge was not blown. Oh no, the bridge was blown, but they can advance 1 over that, and they won't be able to repair it because they all fought in the battle. So yeah, I believe you've got to save one unit to fix the bridge and not be a part of the battle. This one is just for what the heck. I'm not even sure. I wish I had some artillery over here, but it's not to be. It's actually, if I can't really do much of this, it's going to be a 1 to 3. I mean, actually 1 to 3, and I can't advance at all, so I'm not going to bother with that. Also 12, 13, 14, 15, 6 more, 21 to 16, that would be a 1 to 2. Not much you could do there either. 1 to 2 is, unless you have some kind of subtraction, are not going to do a whole lot. And then this engaged group, which has been sitting there for quite a while, fighting off the Germans. We've got 6 on the US, 8, plus this fired 6, 14, 15, 16, and 8, 26, plus 6, 32. And it's actually because of this Panzergrenadier unit, we have a -1. So what did we say again? Oh boy. 8, 14, 16, plus 14 is 30 to 6, 5 to 1, -1. That's actually pretty good. 5 becomes a 4. That's a D3, and he cannot retreat. And advancing, they can't go over the bridge, so we'll just gather these. Actually leave, again, pretending that it's gonna matter for later, even though there's no later. Okay, right here we've got 14, 20, 31 to 5, 6 to 1, which becomes 5 to 1 with the shift, -1 with the endurance bonus. Um, 5 to 1 -1. 3, and that is a D3. So the American, sorry, let's back up a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Only the Panzergrenadiers can go. That's counts as 2 movement points. 1, 2, 3, and they can go to here because they can get this the three hexes. They just can't go over their movement point allowance, which they didn't. And then of course the tanks cannot go into heavy forest. Okay, then we're going to come back to the climactic battle up there. I haven't even counted factors. I know how much the defense is for it's in the 30s with the doubling and the artillery, so that's going to be quite the battle at Eupen. All right, and this one I moved the units for the US so that I could actually pretend I didn't know that the supply depot was there. So my intention is to the problem is I can't advance past here. I can't advance past here, but the intention was that I would have a chance that if it was here or here, here or here, that I'd have two battles going on, and I didn't really know where it was supposed to be. So I'm going under those guidelines or limitations, I guess. So we'll have two separate battles. 18 to 4 is 4 to 1, with the shift is 3 to 1. Not a good roll. 6. 3 to 1, 6 is engaged. So that one, I'm not going to mark it because it's the last turn for Germans. Although, yeah, I don't think the Americans can do much with that. But and then we have 19 plus 5 is 24 to 5. Not quite. That's a 4 to 1 with a shift, 3 to 1, but I do get a -1. So let's see. 3 to 1 -1. Ooh. A 1. And that becomes a D. Oh, this is going to be interesting. 3 to 1 -1 on 1. That's a D4. Now that actually isn't the biggest thing. Is 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess you. But the biggest thing is they will get to. Excuse me. I'll get up here. They will get to advance 1, 2, and let me check something in the rules about when the die roll happens for blowing the fuel dump. Okay, after counting all the factors, it is a 2 to 1, actually a 2 to 1 without even using these artillery, but there's a 1 shift to the left because all the units are in a town and they're across a river. So it's a 1 to 1. And unfortunately, I don't know if I could have, but I should have somehow found a way to use the SS or the first SS Panzer, because that would have given a -1 to the roll. So as it is, this is a 1 to 1 straight up. A 1 will probably give for certain the Germans a victory. So a 1 out of 6 chance. If it's a 2, that will be a counterattack by the US, which could be interesting because there's quite a bit of firepower. They only have to attack 1 hex in a counterattack, but we'll see. So 1 or 2. And there it is, a 2. So this game is not over yet. Counterattack. We'll see how that plays out. And then also down here, the US is kind of bound to counterattack to take back that fuel dump. So right now the German is sitting at 4 victory points, which is what they need. And if the US takes this back, they'll be at 3. But if the US counterattacks up at Eupen, as they have to do, I believe, I'll double check on that, then they might end up losing that hex. So we'll see. Check in after the US can maybe pull this off. Okay, well, that is unfortunate for the US player, and unfortunate in that I did not check those rules carefully before getting close to this point, because in the rules state you can, as soon as a German player is adjacent to the fuel dump, you can declare where it is, since they're supposed to be hidden, and then roll, but you have to have a unit on the fuel dump to do that, which the US does not. And I probably, I'm sure I could have had, in fact it would have been, since this bridge down here was blown, I should have had a unit up here on the fuel dump as well as in front of it. So that was unfortunate. So that means they can advance, since it was a 4 hex retreat, they can advance this, the Panzer there it cannot, armored cavalry can't, Panzer Grenadier can, oops, the tank cannot. So that's the one unit that can get to the fuel dump. Now the interesting thing is I might have to play out this next turn, we'll see, because if we get that to retreat, they could capture the fuel dump back. So this might not be over yet, because that is the 4th victory point. So then we get up to the climactic Eupen battle, and I believe we've got, let me count up the US factors first. 16 doubled with the river. It's 32 plus using the artillery. It's 37. And it's going to be shift 1 to the left. So they're going to get a well, maybe not. I don't know what I've got here. Oh yeah, I do have this. Sorry, this first SS Panzer. So there's 6 as far as the endurance goes. So they will have a subtraction. So what did we say, 37? Well, let's count them up. 17, 24. What the heck? Who's actually? I'm screwing this up here. Okay, after counting all the factors, it is a 2-to-1, actually a 2-to-1 without even using the artillery. But there's a 1 shift to to the left because all the units are in a town and they're across a river. So it's a 1-to-1. And unfortunately, I don't know if I could have, but I should have somehow found a way to use the SS, or the first SS Panzer, because that would have given a -1 to the roll. So as it is, this is a 1-to-1 straight up. A 1 will probably give for certain the Germans a victory. So a 1 out of 6 chance. If it's a 2, that will be a counterattack by the US, which could be interesting because there's quite a bit of firepower. They only have to attack 1 hex in a counterattack, but we'll see. So 1 or 2. And there it is, a 2. So this game is not over yet. Counterattack. We'll see how that plays out. And then also down here, the US is kind of bound to counterattack to take back that fuel dump. So right now the German is sitting at 4 victory points, which is what they need. And if the US takes this back, they'll be at 3. But if the US counterattacks up at Eupen, as they have to do, I believe, I'll double check on that, then they might end up losing that hex. So we'll see. Check in after the US can maybe pull this off.